Hi, this is Dave, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the 12 tips to keep engagement high in virtual meetings. First off, what is an engaging meeting? Well, an engaging meeting is the ability to establish a meaningful connection with a group of people. It's about building relationships with others in an attempt to collaborate and build joint bridges of progress toward a common purpose or goal. Why are engaging meetings important? Well, there are various reasons why. Number one, it builds relationships. Engaging meetings are usually more fun, they're higher energy, and allows people to lower their guard and open up more. Next, it creates an environment of collaboration and knowledge sharing. When we are all in this movement together and we're just on the same page, we're moving the same direction, that leads to the commitment to the team. And that commitment is the fuel for concentrated discussion. Next, it allows for complete alignment towards a common goal. When you're engaged, you pay attention more. And when you pay attention, you are more apt to gain alignment on a shared purpose. It allows for clear understanding of accountabilities. Engaging meetings make it easier for people to accept their role because they're willing to help the people they feel connected with, those who share a common vision for the future. It focuses attention on key decisions or next steps. That's pretty straightforward, but it's important. Also builds interest for next steps. When you have a strong collaborative session, the team will be more excited to build on that momentum by getting behind the next steps or action items. Clarity is a blessing. And when you get it, when you feel that others have that clarity and that alignment, that energy will carry the team forward. Next, we'll review the 12 tips for keeping engagement high in virtual meetings. Take one or two of these and incorporate them into your meetings or more, and become a leader that others will want to emulate when it comes to running meetings. We all have a responsibility to inspire each other, to bring out the best in each other. Most, if not all, of what I'm about to say is really not groundbreaking, and many of you probably use these already. Becoming an engaging meeting leader is not all about innovating or finding out the best next thing. It's using those proven tools and practices that achieves your goals. And if you are not achieving your meeting goals, that is when you need to look out for incremental improvement. However, what I'm about to review are key and critical to becoming an engaging meeting leader. And again, so you can set that example by being that leader to others so they can emulate and help improve your colleagues at meetings as well. Number one, have a clear agenda. Focus your agenda on knowledge sharing, update gathering, and action items. I think we all know the basic importance of having an agenda, but do we know how to best utilize an agenda to set the right direction for your meeting? Next time you're creating an agenda, try to focus the agenda items on knowledge sharing, update gathering, and action items. Knowledge sharing being important information that is pertinent to the team. That could be sharing one piece of progress from one team that affects another team. That could be a change in scope that changes the timeline, etc. Update gathering is pretty straightforward. It's gathering updates for the tasks in your project plan, or issue resolution, or key decisions that are needed to be made, etc. And finally, action items. The action items with these, it's your goal to push open items to completion when it comes to having action items. So don't leave a meeting without identifying owners, ensuring they fully understand the takeaway, and there is at least a soft commitment to a complete date. Number two, stay on agenda. Try not to deviate from the expectations you set with that agenda. So try not to compromise your agenda. Your meetings are not an opportunity for two random members of the team to hijack that call because they couldn't connect prior. If that happens, just politely ask them to hold off on that conversation until your agenda is completed, or for them just to try to connect after the meeting. It's your role not to waste others' time. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. For example, I recently had a call about a singular topic, and the customer wanted to discuss a topic before we started, or another topic before we started. In my opinion, just as long as it's not an epidemic that's happening all the time, you got to remember We exist for our customers, so we need to be flexing for them, and that's completely fine. If that does become a recurring theme, you can really never get through your critical items, consider the following. Ask the customer to just provide his pressing items or her pressing items early on, so you can route those to the proper party to address even before that call. Or have an open one-on-one with the customer, gently explaining your goals to help them achieve successful implementation, and how sticking to the agenda is important to reach that goal. Number 3, make it personal. Remember that we are all people. Making it personal by developing connectedness and participation is important. Simple things as asking how the day is going for everyone, how the weekend was, follow up on a child's sports game or a concert or recital that they may have had. And also, beyond that, at the beginning or the end, ask every person if they have a question or comment. So try to engage people and ask people when they talk to say their name and their project role, especially at the beginning of the project. It helps build the connections and understand what everyone's role is and how they're going to contribute to the project. Number 4, use simple graphics and keep on-screen text and graphics simple when possible. What I've been doing is using this method for this presentation. Why? The most important thing I'm talking about is the only thing that you can see, which eliminates slide distraction. This forces you to focus on exactly what I want you to pay attention to. If I filled one slide with all my tips, your mind would wander away from what I want you to focus on, which creates a misalignment and disengagement, which we want to avoid when we can. Number 5, be consistent, breed comfort and predictability. Be consistent and try to be predictable, right? Inconsistency just drains energy. It makes people uneasy and it focuses on the wrong things. What you see on the screen right now is very distracting, and it forces us to focus on adapting to unnecessary change that takes our attention away from the speaker. Stay consistent to maintain your flow so you don't lose the audience unnecessarily. Number 6, be prepared. Are you prepared for the meeting? Have you ever gone into a meeting you are leading and you're not sure what the meeting is about, but you quickly put the pieces together as that call is starting? Especially when you have back-to-back meetings, we may have gone through that. So that creates stress, anxiety. It really makes you feel out of control. So a good tip here is when you first turn on your computer in the morning, scan through your meetings you're hosting and determine which need an agenda. Then go ahead and send out the agenda to the invitee list if you haven't already. Also, if you are a participant in a meeting, take about 3 to 5 minutes to mentally prepare for each of those meetings. A good tip is within the invite of each meeting, jot down bullet points or things that you want to talk about so that when you're called upon, you can talk to them in a concise manner. Number 7, say and prove your intent. Do people believe what your intent is to help? So this one will take time and require consistent behavior on your part. Say and prove your intent. Do people believe that your intent is to help them? Put yourself in the shoes of an attendee in a meeting. The host introduces the call, reviews the agenda topics, and dives into the first topic. They speed through the agenda to finish as fast as possible without fostering team collaboration or soliciting participation. How did that meeting feel to you? Did you feel the meeting host was trying to help everyone achieve their goals or just trying to get through the meeting as fast as possible? I know I've been on meetings like these, especially where the client was leading them. The meeting culture being sent by the host feels disingenuous, disengaging, and leaves you feeling unfulfilled, both from a personal perspective and also from a knowledge gathering perspective. Those who rush put off the people who have questions or need to learn more because they don't want to rock the boat and interrupt. Keys here is to watch your tone. Ask questions or ask for questions and try to solicit that feedback throughout your meeting and utilize time more efficiently. We all feel good when we can say, we're giving back time. All right, I'm giving you back time because we're ending short of the meeting in time. But just make sure it's not at the expense of being disengaging and putting your team in a position where they feel unimportant. Number 8, set the right tone. Celebrate a win or a piece of good news and ask the team to participate. So, when you ask this up front, you are setting a positive mood, not only through receiving good news, but always allowing for immediate engagement and focus. Saying your good piece of news or hearing good pieces of news increases our endorphins, which energizes us for the call. Humans are social creatures and we thrive in communities. Endorphins have been shown to help reinforce social attachments. While this may not be entirely true anymore, in early human history, people who stuck together in social groups were better able to survive and reproduce. And actually is quite relevant today. So we are not going to be reproducing in our calls, but the basic premise remains that we feel more connected, more attuned to what is going on, feel safe, and feel happier. Number 9, use technology. Use the technology that's available to you. These tools, the technology available to you, help to drive mental commitment to the task at hand because the audience is forced to participate and focus. Outside of annotations and poll questions, for example, on a WebEx, that could be one aspect, but there are many other presentation type apps out there. But this could be good for everyone, but could especially be used for introverts, those members of your team that need to be called on to speak. And if you foster a culture of technology use, having them or anyone pose questions in that WebEx chat, for example, can put them more in a comfort zone. Number 10, end on time or early. This seems like an impossibility, ending on time, and I know it's not easy, especially when there is an item that must be discussed or a decision that must be made that is just critical and you have to get a decision made. So a tip here is to ensure your agenda is front loaded with the vital discussions and decisions that are needed. That way you can carry over your non-urgent items or your low priority topics to the next meeting. To help here, have in your own mind that you want to wrap up the call 5 minutes early. That doesn't have to be communicated to everyone, but if you start to wind down the call with 5 minutes left, you give yourself a chance to end on time, or just slightly early to give folks an opportunity to switch mindsets before their next call to get them prepared for that one. Number 11, meeting minutes. Send out notes and clear action items and owners. This is more of a post-meeting activity, but worth noting for sure. Make sure you are sending out notes and clear action items and owners. You could have a great meeting full of great engagement and positivity, but if you fail to clearly articulate the key points and action items, that momentum will fall flat. And that's something you don't want. And maybe a few days before your next call, when you're reviewing those action items, send a quick reminder to the team with those action items and for those people, and set your team up for success. Number 12, feedback. Ask for invitee feedback and adjust based on your audience. So I did this with a customer. I called and I asked, how do you think our meetings are going? And she wanted the meetings to go faster. So without compromising the need to adequately address the agenda items or assign owners to action items, I decided to reevaluate my whole process and try to gain some efficiencies. What I changed was having my note-taking line items preset, ready to go, and ensuring I prepare for the call by refamiliarizing myself with the last update so we can quickly dive into the new update. Without spending just any time thinking through what the last update was or meant on the call, I was able to ensure that the agenda items were clear so that I can immediately engage that person for that particular item. And although it may feel uncomfortable, or you may even think that everyone loves your meetings, so you don't need to ask anyone, consider reaching out to folks and soliciting their feedback. You may be surprised on what you can tweak to make your meetings more effective and more engaging. I hope you found these 12 steps to be useful. If you have any additional tips that you think could help others, share them in the comments below. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.